Hello, everyone. It's Art Russell here at Think Twice on YouTube and thinktwice.me at wordpress.com. In this video, I'm going to share some information that I hope will help clear up some confusion related to the subject of enlightenment. Many of you who are eager to knowingly awaken to your essential nature, your spiritual nature, may have heard the expression, to find yourself, you must lose yourself. Now, this can definitely seem confusing. At least it did to me when I first heard it. You might also hear, you must die before you die. But again, what does this really mean? So let's dive deeper into the subject of enlightenment by sharing some definitions, which is really something that can't be defined or described, but I'm hoping that this will lead you to the breadcrumb trail of your own knowing. One of my favorite definitions is this: to awaken from the dream of personhood. Tony Parsons, who is a noted author and speaker about non-duality, expresses it this way: awakening is simply the dropping of seeking. What drops away is the one that's looking for something. I might express it this way: enlightenment means to awaken to that which you are, instead of identifying with the beliefs of what you are not. So let's move on to some common misconceptions. One of the biggest or most common is that enlightenment means that someone is superior to someone who is not awakened. This is not true at all. With clear seeing, we understand that we're all made of the same stuff, consciousness, whether we realize this or not. I'd also like to clear up about a seeker, the term seeker, because it does imply that we're seeking something that is distant from us or something that's lacking. This is not the case. It's just that we're unaware of this knowingly. It's here, it's omnipresent. It's what we actually are. It's truth. I'd also like to share that no person, as strange as this sounds, ever becomes enlightened. To become enlightened means that the perspective of being the person basically evaporates. It's seen as being false. Now, I've made an illustration that I hope will help clear up some confusion. It's pretty basic, but let's see what we can do with it. So there it is. And I'd like to state that this represents a big bucket, let's say, of consciousness. And this is a person in a cork. Let's imagine that this is a cork. Now, in arrow P, representing the person, is floating under the surface. So, still immersed in false beliefs, and we call it ignorance. Ignorance doesn't mean stupid. It just means unaware. Now, arrow S represents floating on the top, which indicates that this perspective would be one of knowing our spiritual nature. So that through grace, the perspective of the person, it rose up until it could clearly see truth, to know truth. Not having to put it into words, it's a direct experience. So let's also talk about some of the benefits with this. The biggest is the easing of suffering that's associated with belief in being the person. As strange as that sounds, I know it sounds insane, to be honest, at first. And people may, David R. Hawkins actually said, people will either think that you're incredibly enlightened or insane, because it's so different from what we've been conditioned to believe. So regarding that benefit, as the perspective of believing that we are the person falls away, so does a lot of the suffering that's associated with that perspective. The ups and downs of daily or monthly or yearly life, good situations, bad, we experience them from a distance, and that alleviates so much of the suffering that's associated with believing ourselves to be the person. Circumstances take on a lighter air. They're viewed as though in a dream, which is actually the truth. Fear dissipates, basically falls away, because we realize that we no longer have to fear death, so we can live fully with that understanding, with knowing that. And okay, I'd also like to talk here about the subject of meditation. There can be some confusion about that, and I've related that confusion, or that meditation is one of the pathways, I believe, to clear seeing. But I'd also like to express a bit of a caveat with that, and that's if we get down on the cushion and we meditate, and say we go to a really nice state of mind where everything just seems very peaceful. And then if we get up off the cushion and we believe, wow, that was a great meditation session, I think I'm getting there, that's false. When we go into meditation, that's actually being what we are. That's basically an evaporation of the perspective of the person. So again, we don't want to cling to some idea that a person ever becomes enlightened. That perspective falls away. I'd also like to share, here's a quote from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. I've mentioned him many times in the past, and his spiritual classic entitled, I Am That. Here's a quote from that book. To be a person is to be asleep. And with that, I'm going to sign off for this video. If you've enjoyed the content, I invite you to subscribe to my channel or click a like. You can find more information through my free articles at thinktwice.me, and more information is available through my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, which is available through Amazon. Bye for now. We'll talk again soon.